Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
So, guys, check in every day over at Evolutionary and on EEARTS, and also on HEEARTS, as we will try our best to get a video up every day on each one of the channels, or at least 2 of 3. We want to thank everybody for your support over on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Couldn't do it without you guys. And so we are going to give you a mantra of power and of the divine feminine and of protection and of super intense protection.
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty good. What you really want to do, though, is understand if you call in this energy, you're going to get help. So if you're in a bad situation and you want to change it, she's wonderful to call on. But understand, things will change in your life for that which you want. So I would say be mindful while doing it. Make sure you're in a position where things can change. Things are fluid. Just saying, she's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, as we go along our journey in life, hopefully we are spending time in our spiritual practice and we're really striving to become the best version of ourselves possible. You know, again, we do all have basic needs and all, but we should be trying to do our best to help others as we go. And when you see, for instance, again, today and last night, everything we've been sharing about those UFO UAPs up there and about the blue avians, which was a surprise. I never thought we would be making contact with the blue aliens, but then I never thought we'd be making contact with the ant people. And they did pop up when we were over in Hopi land, which would make sense because, we were kind of in their territory, so to speak. And many other ET races and interdimensional beings. So it shouldn't really be a surprise, whoever you're going to contact. You never know. But when we're talking about protection, and you see the lion there with the lady on the lion, riding the lion, and she has 8 arms. And, the weapons that she carries is the weapons of Vishnu and of Shiva. And, she is an amalgam. She is a combination of the major goddesses and the powers of the major goddesses, but also the powers of the major gods as well. And again, when we're talking about these things, it's understood that we are talking about beings that you could call extraterrestrials. Are they from Earth? Not really. They are interdimensional in nature. They're a very high vibrational frequency. They can travel through multiple densities, and they are of a very, very benevolent nature. And they do try to uphold the original plan and also uphold the sanctity of the individual soul to discover its own path and to always be free. Again, Loka Samasta Sukhi no Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may my doings, thoughts, my actions contribute to that. That is so, so important. When we say something like that, it's given to us from these beings.
Mm-hmm. They give us many, many different ways that we can make our lives better, make ourselves better. And they also let us know that, look, you don't have to do this alone. Yes, you might have a monumental task in front of you, but you don't have to do this alone. These beings are okay to call on. They have a lot to offer. They have a lot of help to offer. I would also add, when you are calling on these beings, talk to them like you're talking to your mom, your dad, a friend. Be detailed in your conversations because they do hear you and they do help.
Oh, of course, they want to help. And they want to help, again, from a righteous perspective. Again, if we are just looking, we already have 6 cars and we want a 7th car. I mean, not that type of thing. Help in the bigger picture. Help humanity. Help us find our way. Help us reconnect to the highest and best version of ourselves. and especially help us. And when we call on Durga's energy, and also Kali Ma, you are calling for protective energy. And when we look at what's going on the planet, this is very, very appropriate for this time. Because we were talking about the blue avians and how, they are basically a warrior class, but they're like a noble warrior class that's out to protect the little guy that can't protect themselves. And again, many times we might find ourselves bullied by those with superior technology, stronger numbers, better armed, better trained in many different ways, or just in a position of wealth and power trying to inflict their will on others. This is definitely a being that you can call on, because there is a fierce nature to this being. And, while she might look sweet and calm one moment, and the same thing with the lion, they are very protective. Think about a mother bear and her cubs and how she will protect them. Well, this is your mother, and she will protect you.
This is an energy that came to us a time ago. I channeled is this Durga energy, and it will come in as a wave, and people will be gifted this Durga energy. And what it does, it makes you very awake. You understand the bigger picture. You see what's going on beyond the veil that the controllers have input, and you're able to protect yourself and those around you with no fuss. There's no more questions. She brings great clarity to those people who are looking for protection and those who are looking to protect. She helps them all.
Absolutely. And so just as we were saying, and we're going to share the story because I think it's appropriate to share the entirety of the story, to share the different aspects of Durga, Chamunda or Chamundaye, and Kali or Kali Ma. As again, we see the little bit sweeter look on the face, still very much carrying out a warrior act there. And then we have the full-blown Kali mode, which is something to be respected.
When I see Kali, I see her as fire. She comes to me like a blazing being, and she is very powerful in her energy. If it's going to channel through you, it's something you definitely do not mistake.
Yeah, and you always, proceed with caution in so many ways. Yeah, most definitely. So this says, why did Lord Shiva fall at Kali's feet? As it happened once that the world was threatened by the Asuras. Now, we've talked about the Asuras, always fighting against the Devas, right? The Asuras and the Devas, the eternal battle of good and evil, per se, and yet it is that, but it's a little bit more too, and it is a little bit down to earth as well as celestial and of a more generalized scope. You have that astrotheology point of view, and we could look at certain tendencies and traits and energies, like when we talk about the stars, and we could talk about angelic influences, demonic influences, and then there's also the literal battles that have taken place in the skies above Earth, in which humanity looked at it as, wars of the gods. And here we are yet again, back to the future, back to the past. History does come around, and it is in a spiral. Of course, when you look at it from a certain angle, maybe you're not able to see the spiral and you just see the circle.
Right. So, these energies, they come and they go. So it is nice to have a little understanding of how the story goes.
And again, this is a reference to the cycle of the yugas that we talk about time and time and time again. And just again, to give you guys a better visual, I want to bring that up. There we go. As we've talked about this so many times, this is in reference to the cycle of yugas. Hey, look at Kali. Yeah, the Dark Age. There's reasons for all these things. So it happened once that the world was threatened by the Asuras. the demonic beings. The demons rallied together to overthrow the gods and gain control of the earth. Now again, this is in reference to going from the golden age to the silver, going down to the bronze, coming into the dark age. The leader of this uprising was Raktabija, the demon general. Through the practice of austerities, he was granted a boon. And this is something that you may not be at all used to if you haven't read any of the Hindus' myths, legends, scriptures. So even a demonic energy can perform austerities such as meditations and mantras to the higher beings in order to get boons or be granted wishes. And you see this. Now, the boon was granted by Brahma, who allowed his power to increase by 1,000 every time a drop of his blood was spilled. Now, there's a reason why no Hindus worship Brahma. And isn't it interesting, too, because the Abrahamic tradition is a retelling of the story of Brahma and Sarasvati, Abraham and Sarah. So, interesting, is it not? So he's granted a boon, and this may very well be why nobody worships Brahma anymore. Nobody, comes to Brahma. Yeah. The fight, the demon soldiers came forth, and the gods trembled with outrage. The demons ravaged the earth and its inhabitants. Who would rid the world of this monster? In desperation, the gods turned to their Shakti, the female energy counterparts. Now, Shakti, again, the mother energy, is the material on which everything is created.
In Vedic astrology, what you learn is all the planets are male, and the female counterpart is everything that is manifest on that planet. So it's how everything comes to be. It's bringing the divine masculine, divine feminine together, and as a team they come together and they really create. But you can't have one without the other. They need each other. But the feminine, she has that creative ability, so she brings everything in that we can see.
And this is, again, in so many ways, we could see, again, that symbolism of the yin and the yang. We could see this in the Gnostic point of view again, looking at Sophia and the demiurge and all that, albeit it has a little bit of a different vibe to it, but it's because of when it developed, too, because we were, again, in the heart of the Dark Age at that point in time. And most certainly, in the heart of the Dark Age, it's very easy to think that all of creation is just an abomination. It's all about, travail and negativity and suffering and all that, but it's not always that way. And when we are in the Golden Age, it's wonderful. When we're in the Silver Age, it's still great. It's wonderful. And for the most part, it's pretty damn good. In the Bronze Age, it's only in the Dark Age. To put it plainly, it sucks. It's challenging, let's say. Challenging.
I say this is where we have the most growth. This is where we have the most expansion. That's how I see it.
And I only say it sucks because it doesn't really suck. And we come here on purpose to challenge ourselves time and time again. It offers, as you said, the most opportunity for growth and expansion. Now, if we're just looking at it and we say, okay, in a Dark Age, if we're extremely blessed, maybe we live 70, 80 years. In a Golden Age, maybe we live 10,000 years, and that sounds crazy. Maybe even 100,000 years. That sounds just unbelievable. But again, it's a different type of body. It's a light body. And it's a totally different way of living. Totally different circumstances. So, get back to the story here. The gods turned to Shakti, the female energy counterparts. The great and beautiful goddess Durga stepped forward. She had protected them before and was obliged to do it again. Armed with the weapons of the gods, Durga rode into battle on a tiger, her champion mount. She switched goddess forms many times during the battle, slaying demon soldiers as quickly as they advanced until all that remained was the demon general. The battle between Raktabija and Devi ensued. Durga charged again and again, and his blood spilled everywhere. From each drop of blood, 1,000 more demons like him sprang up. Full armies rose from the puddles of his blood. Demons advanced on the goddess by the thousands. They rode on elephants and horse-drawn chariots. They laughed and shouted at her dilemma. Upon seeing this, Durga became enraged. She knitted her brows in absolute fury. From this concentration came Kali, the terrible one. The whole universe shook with thundering roar of this powerfully terrible goddess. Those demons who stood nearest the mighty Devi were consumed with the roaring rage of energy. Kali emerged naked except for a covering of a tiger skin. Her skin was of the deepest black and hung loosely on her bones. This mad skeleton of a hag was armed with a skull-topped staff, a noose, and the sword of vengeance. She appeared most frightening, with her blood-red eyes sunken deep into her skull, wild with raw power, anxious to be unleashed, and a third eye flaming brilliantly from her forehead. Her entangled black hair blew wildly about her shoulders. She turned her furious gaze upon the demon armies, half fell lifeless from the deadly grip of her stare. She let out a loud and petrifying shriek, and more fell dead to the ground at her feet. With wild cackling, she advanced on her enemies. She reached out with claw-like hands and shoveled some of the remaining demons into her gaping mouth. The rest turned away in fear of this ferocious Devi. The skies were filled with the sounds of her shrieking laughter, but she didn't stop at that. She stretched out her bright red tongue and swallowed all the elephants and their riders as they tried to run. The horse-drawn chariots disappeared with another mouthful into the abyss of the dark goddess. With his armies fully destroyed again, the great Devi faced off with Raktabija. Kali pierced the demon in the side and quickly caught the flowing blood with her tongue and drank it greedily. The life energy of Raktabija flowed out with his dripping blood like wine from a bottle. This time he was not given the chance to raise more demons from the blood. He was helpless in the face of the terrifying hag. She lifted him high in the air so she could more easily drain the blood from his body. Finally, drunken with the blood of victory, she threw away the demon general's corpse. The world was saved almost. It was time for Kali to begin her victory dance among the demon corpses. By now she was drunk from his blood, and the effect it had on her caused her to dance wildly. As she danced, she threw back her head again and filled the skies with her shrill cackling. Her terrible laughter drew the attention of the gods, who then came to see the outcome of the battle. They watched as she weaved in and out between the bodies of the demons. As she went, she snacked up tokens of victory. From the demons' hands she created the belt, and from their heads she fashioned a garland which she wore around her neck. Her dancing grew more and more frenzied as she slipped into a trance. Her feet pounded out destruction with each step of the earth. Soon the demon corpses were reduced to mush, yet she continued dancing. It seemed as though nothing would stop her, and again the world was on verge of collapse. Something had to be done, and soon. So the gods begged Shiva to intervene and to calm Kali before it was too late. He was not very much concerned. He did not yet believe the world would be destroyed. As lord of the dance, he himself was enjoying the fine display of dancing. He laughed and waved the other gods away. Let Kali enjoy herself, he said. Her job was well done. As you see a little depiction there. It was not as it looked. That was right before he was unseated by the thunderous pounding of Kali's dance. When he attempted to right himself, another footstep from the Devi sent him flying in the air. He then understood the full force of what was taking place. He hurried down to the other gods. They again beseeched him to do something. Shiva called out to Kali, but she could not hear him. Such was the fever that raced through her. She continued pounding what was left of the demon flesh into oblivion. She rattled her staff and shook her great head. Her hair whipped wildly about, causing great winds to carry off a few of the gods that were nearby. She turned about, lifted her arms to the sky, laughing crazily all the while. Nothing could stop this display of raw energy. Shiva called out again, but again his words went unheard. Finally, in an act of complete desperation, he threw himself down beneath her feet. Kali continued with her frenzied dance pounding out the life of her husband, it was a few moments before she realized it was indeed her husband, Shiva, who had laid flattened at her feet. She quickly brought herself out of her trance, and she was once more again the calm Devi. Once more the world was saved from total destruction. Shiva's quick and selfless thinking had balanced the Devi's dance of destruction. With the world now safe, the gods returned to their regular routines. So, what do you think?
Well, this really, really shows a mother taking care of her children when her children are in trouble. Moms don't stop. They don't stop until their children are safe. And sometimes actually, parents, I shouldn't just say moms and dads, they don't stop until they know their child is no longer in harm's way. But yeah, that's like a really fun story. I haven't read the shortened version, but that kind of got me. That was a lot of fun. That was fun. I loved it. I love the analogy of the mother protecting her children. That's what it's truly, to me, that's what I see.
Absolutely. And, again, when we talk about this with the guides, who includes Lakshmi, who is one of our, main guides, they say that they hope that we enjoy the stories and get a lot out of them. So they don't say, okay, this is exactly what happened, word for word. No. These are allegories. These are trying to explain a lot of different things. Natural processes, emotions, entanglements, different things we all will face in a universal way, as well as I think they are giving clues to some of the real battles that have taken place as we go through the cycle of the yugas. And so we're coming out of the Dark Age, the Kali Yuga. And again, this is the time when Durga is going to dance her dance. The controllers understand this. And they can't stop her. There's nothing they could do to stop it.
No, any more than you could stop a mom from saving her child's life from a bear. There's no stopping it. It's just a natural reflex of humanity. It will happen. It will come. It'll be as natural as drinking water. It'll be as natural as breathing. It's just going to happen. It's one of those things that's buried deep inside of each and every one of us. We do have this fury inside, and when we feel threatened, or our children feel threatened, or something we love feels threatened, and it activates or triggers that fury inside. Watch out.
Yeah, Kali has come to Cindy and wanted to be a regular, component. And again, the energy is just so strong and so intense that she doesn't really consistently channel her.
No, I don't. But of course, really appreciate her even making herself available. There was a couple times where I did channel Kali energy, and it is very powerful. But always thanking them when they do come to offer. But when it's needed, we do call her, and she comes. She's wonderful. When you need the energy, it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this energy is so intense that even, again, when you look to Shiva, it's the Shiva and the Shakti. So you could look at it as the spirit in the material in so many ways. You could look at it as, the concept and the creation. There's so many ways we could look at this. And yet very, very real and very real consciousnesses. Kali is a consciousness. Durga is a consciousness. And again, Durga is the combination of Lakshmi, Sarasvati, and also Parvati. And in many ways, you could look at that as, so many different aspects of power, beauty, wisdom, love, compassion, abundance, all those things. So when you call on this energy, this is when you feel threatened. When you feel threatened, you could call on them. And obviously, all of humanity can call on them now because we have been threatened. And this is why, again, we were sharing what we shared with the guides, and some coming to the forefront and trying to stop what's going on, because humanity is most definitely being threatened. So this is very simple, and I wanted to find one that was really simple. And so it's Jai, Jai is Jai Mata Kali. Jai Mata Kali, Jai Mata Durge. Kali, Durge, Namo Namah. So Namo Namah is like saying, we respect you, we bow, we give you thanks, we give you homage. So you're calling on them. Jai is victory. Jai Mata Kali, Jai Mata Durge. Kali, Durge, Namo Namah.
And we're still working on the exact format that we're going to give Hearts Om. And if you guys enjoyed the story, which I really did, I enjoyed the story and I enjoyed talking about it and going in depth and, what does it mean to you? Let us know. Give us ideas for Hearts Om. It's growing.
Yes, and we thank you for that. Another one that you could do is just simple, Hey Ma Durga Kalima Jaya. Hey Ma Durga Kalima Jaya. Hey Ma Durga Kalima Jaya.
Indeed. Hey Ma Durga Kalima Jaya. Yes. Try it. See how it goes for you.
So this is calling on the protective energy of the mother. And she will respond because she loves us. And it is... Again, that love that knows no bounds. And Durga is such a popular goddess because she is all the goddesses. And again, in the pagan and Wiccan traditions, which really are not so far off the Hindu traditions. And I mean, I discovered that back when I was like 19, 20, when I started to study these different traditions as I was coming out of a long spell of going to every single church I could possibly go to and every single temple and synagogue and you name it. I decided, let me try some other traditions. And so I did. And it was really, really mind expanding and heart expanding. And I realized that when we look to it at the core, Hinduism and really the shamanic traditions, all the animistic practices that we see from so many traditional indigenous peoples all over the world, they're all so similar. They're all so similar, and they echo of the golden age and the silver age. And, there is a difference between the gods and the goddesses. There's also this tendency to say that a particular Greek or Roman god is the exact same god in the Hindu pantheon, and that's the same god in, say, the Nordic pantheon or the Celtic. No, they're not. They're not. There's a lot of different beings out there, a lot of different energies, and a lot of different densities.
Mm-hmm. And as I'm sitting here just trying to think of a really good analogy to sum up Durga's protection and why we say, take caution if you do ask. For example, if a child is rollerblading and they fall down and they cry for mom for help, well, the first thing mom might do is she might take away those rollerblades until you get used to using them again, or until you can actually use them. So the kid done lost their rollerblades, and that kind of stinks, but you know what? They're going to be safe. So you just have to be open. It's like if you want help, you want something accomplished, you might be called to face some of your fears. And also in astrology, that's a Saturnian type of energy. Whenever something difficult is happening in your life, it's Saturn is trying to teach us a lesson. And I really think Saturn gets such a bad rap, when Saturn is what can bring us the wisdom to keep us doing our best.
Absolutely. So, is there a little lion in your life? Anyway, I hope you guys got something out of this. As always, thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Let us know what you want to cover on this channel. What would you like to get into more? With Cindy's help and guidance, I think we have maybe figured out our new piece of equipment. So hopefully we'll have better quality sound and be able to do some mantras and things like that for and with you guys.
It would be fun indeed.
Much love. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.